Hi guys, and welcome back to yet another YouTube video. If this is your first time, ymadyira, and if you're coming back guys, which then means you are already part of the family, thank you so much for coming back. If you have not subscribed guys, please do not forget to subscribe as well as to like and to share this video guys, so that this community can grow, right? I was very nervous sitting down and having that conversation where I share that delicate part of me, the passing of my mother, with you guys. I was really anxious, and I was anxious around the whole experience of shooting it, to be quite honest, because it allowed me to go back to that state. It allowed me to revisit those emotions, that trauma, So it was very, very, very challenging for me, I'm not gonna lie. And I think also with editing, I think I'd forgot how tedious editing a YouTube video is, like listening to your voice as well, like time and time again, like cut here. So that experience, I was like, oh, but I'm glad I did it. And I think from one video to the next, the only thing that I can do is to grow. So I'm glad that I've literally just jumped into this YouTube space again. I have been so overwhelmed around it and very anxious about it. But here we are, we never give up, honey, okay? I just wanted to just chat with you guys in terms of, what has kept me anchored throughout this process, right? What has kept me going, what sets my life on fire, So I'd like to take it back a few steps. I know previously, like a while ago when I started this YouTube video, I made it clear that this is a space whereby I want to be as honest as possible. Like I said, like a girl next door, sharing her own experiences, the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, and mostly sharing, my motherhood journey. It's so challenging, especially from umzali oyedwa, raising a boy, and I mean, we're all three girls. So now here I am raising a boy child as a female, and I don't have a brother, in terms of learning and taking some information from a male's perspective. So I'm learning from males that are close to me, that really play an important part in my life. And as you would see in my previous videos before, like years ago, that I, like my parents divorced at a very young age, and I don't have like a close relationship with my dad. Moving back now to a few years, I lost my son in 2016, right? So how that happened was 2016, I fell pregnant. So at the time, I mean, it was my first child, and my mom was still obviously alive. And I told myself that I want to give birth at home. I want this first experience for my mom to be hands-on, to be there guiding me through this journey as well. So then I was due in September 2016. And I remember on the 16th of September 2016, I was in labor, and I went to the hospital. I was very nervous, but I think I was excited as well, because it was my first child. My mom was here. I was like, what could be the worst thing to happen, My birth was really complicated, guys, to be quite honest, because I remember I was bleeding right through, and the baby was not ready yet, because every time the nurses would check, it's either, I think they mentioned about his head was upside down. Now that I understood later on, then I understood he was probably in breech. I'm not in birth position. I remember calling my mom and telling her that, Mom, I've not given birth yet, and it looks like this is such a complicated situation. In the time already, all the sanitary pads that I had, guys, and I've not even given birth. I was bleeding like heavy. So eventually it was my time to give birth, and I had a natural birth process. And I remember the time when I was giving birth, I was out of it, guys. I did not have any energy. I did not have energy to push. And I remember the nurses, benfaga drip, guys. Both of my arms had drip. And I remember my mom coming to the hospital, because now she was worried, but this girl has been in labor for such a long time and she's bleeding. Pads, guys. And she was like, no, I think you guys need to do an emergency Caesar, because then we are going to lose this child, right? So, but I eventually gave birth. I don't remember how I was pushing, to be quite honest, because I think already I was in so much pain that my body was literally giving up. And my body was like so numb as well. So I don't remember how I was pushing. But all I remember is that I tore quite a lot because I was just pushing and pushing and pushing. I then later learned that you only push over contractions. For me, I was like, this baby needs to come. This baby needs to come. So I was pushing the whole entire time. So, and then I was excited at the time that, okay, fine, my baby's here. My mom is here. We can finally leave this hospital. And then we went home. So when we got home, my aunt was there, which is like my mom's sister. Obviously now this newborn baby, and they know that I'm a new mom, so they wanted to take care of me. And at the time I could barely walk because obviously it was still painful. And I remember coming back home, and the only thing that I wanted to do was to just go to bed and sleep. I was so tired, and luckily for me, I knew that my mom and my aunt were there to take care of the child. And then funny enough, I think my nap took probably like an hour and a half. I remember waking up, I had this terrifying feeling, basically, and I remember saying to my aunt, because I was sleeping in my mom's room, so we're all in my mom's room, obsessing over this child. So, and when I woke up and I was like, that was the first thing that I asked. I was like, but where's my child? I want my child. And then at that point, my son was not latching properly onto my breasts. I would put him on my breast, but he would not latch. All you can do is just squeeze the breast milk, and then feed the child. And at the time, he was a bit feverish. And then a few minutes later, because one thing that I used to do, when Dimbook, I would hold him and like blow into his eyes and his eyelids, and he, bat his eyelids, because he had nice, beautiful eyes. So, and then I did that again when I woke up, and it looked like, he was trying so hard to breathe, and I was like, there's definitely something wrong here, and let's go back to the hospital. And then the doctor took him, examined him, and he was like, no, but we lost him. Huh? And I'm like, but no, he's still hot. Then I could feel his pulse. But I was like, but Nancy pulse, he's still hot. And then he was like, no, he passed away. And it looks like he probably passed away on the way to the hospital. Yo, guys, hey. At that very moment, I remember I was like, no ways, no. And now this guy was a day old, because now I gave birth to him on the 16th, and then he passed away on the 17th evening. I was like, Njani. And when I looked at him, it was like he literally did not have any blood in his body. It looked like something sucked the blood out of his body. He was literally gray. He turned gray. Guys, such a horrific, traumatizing experience. And then after that, I literally broke down. And I think that was my first encounter and bargaining with God. Literally like pleaded to God and asked him, if you just wake this little man up, whatever that you need, God, I will do. All I'm asking is for you, Vuselomtana. I will do whatever that you need me to do in my life. Go in whatever direction that you want me to go into my life. Yo, guys, hey, umntana kavuka. And then, obviously, we needed to prepare for the funeral, which we did. And I remember I stayed home for some time until I was ready to come back to work again. And during that time, I stayed at home for probably for 3 weeks, inside the house, without going outside or interacting with anyone. And I remember this one time, obviously I was depressed, and I remember this one time my mom was like, Mdanam, let's get ready, maslambe, and go to the mall. For the first time, I think in 3 weeks, I stepped outside, and it felt like hell. It felt like hell, you guys. It felt like everybody was looking at me. It felt like everybody was, felt sorry for me. It felt like everybody was like, umjongeni now, you know, nanku usolekile ngumntwana, you know, there's that girl who lost a child. And it felt like everybody was laughing at me. And I remember being at the mall and I was like, Mom, no, I need to go to the car, please give me the car keys. I could not, I could not take it any longer. And it felt like everyone's eyes were like piercing through my pain, you know, seeing how vulnerable I am at this point. And you know, one thing that's funny about God, yes, God tricky guys. The whole time that I was at the mall, I kept on seeing abandoned guys, like everywhere I would turn. There were women with young kids everywhere around me. And I think it was at that point I was like, Mom, please give me the keys. I can't do this anymore. I just need to go to the car. I need to breathe. I'm suffocating, basically, you know. And I remember randomly at the mall meeting an old classmate, and she asked me, Kuba, hey Ntombi, congrats once again, you know, unjani umntana. Immediately then my heart sank, but it was still new, you know, the wound was still new. I could not bring myself to share that, no, in fact, that my son passed away a few days ago, you know. And I remember I answered, I was like, yo, no, right, umntana uyakula. And then at that point I was like, yo, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for the outside world, you know. So we went back home on that day, and I think from that point then my mom realized, Kuba, no, Yolanda is not okay, you know, and there's extra support that she needs to give to me. And yeah, man, it was such a traumatic experience. After being at home for some time, I had to come back to Cape Town. And to be quite honest, I'm glad that experience happened whilst my mom was still alive, because she gave me all the support, all the love that I could possibly need. And if there was one thing about my mom, is that she will root for me, you know, she will pat me on the back. She was like my biggest cheerleader. And she thought so highly of me. Every time Mama would want to do something or make a decision, she would always call me, Bamtana, this is what I'm thinking to do, you know, what do you think about it? And I don't think I will ever experience that type of love, to be quite honest. That type of support, you know, she literally was my best friend. And whatever that I needed, I know that my mom would do. Whatever situation that I would find myself, I know that Mama, we would sit together and bob heads and be like, this is you know. And I think for Yena, you know, after she divorced, you know, she made it very intentional. And I know there'll be times whereby, you know, it simply means that, you know, she really respected me and thought so highly of me. She was my biggest cheerleader. So, you know, what has then kept me going like over the years, honestly, to be quite honest, it is God. I get communed to guys. I know sometimes whereby I question God. There are times whereby I don't understand his decisions, you know, but I know that he has everything in control. And and he will never forsake us, you know. He was always there to give us a beautiful life of abundance, and he's ready for us to live out our dreams. So what has kept me going is actually the scripture. So for me, those are some of the two scriptures that, you know, keep me centered and remind me of God's love, unconditional love, you guys. I'm a very centered person. I'm very anchored, and I know who I am. You know, I might fumble here and there, lose balance here and there. I mean, don't we all, you know? But above everything else, I'm one person that will shake myself up. I'm one person that will bounce back. That's one of the things that I really respect about myself. You know, I'm really at a point whereby I am just going after everything that I want, you know, no matter how hard it is, no matter how challenging it is, I'm really going after it. And I'm at a point whereby I'm like, life is too short, you know, I don't want to die tomorrow and realize that I was the one standing in my own way, you know, I was the one hindering my own progress, own potential. I refuse. You know, I think losing my mom really opened my eyes on a lot of things, and I understand myself more. I'm more confident in myself. So, if you have not subscribed, guys, please do not forget to subscribe, as well as to like and to share this video, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for coming back. Thank you for the love. I really do appreciate it.